If you are looking for information on buying, selling, managing, or renting a home, we'll show you all the tips, tactics, and secrets that will best ensure your success. So let's get started. Hi guys, my name is Trace. I'm with Ashford Realty Group, and I am going to quickly share with you the Colorado Springs real estate market update for April 2021. So guys, if you're a current homeowner here in Colorado Springs, you're going to want to pay attention to the information I'm going to share with you. It's likely the best information you could get all day, or best news you could get all day. For those that aspire to be a homeowner here in Colorado Springs, pay attention to this information because I really feel like this will help you better prepare to succeed in our market. So guys, without further ado, let's get into it. Median sales price for Colorado Springs, $406,000. Now, depending on if you're relocating from other areas, this may be higher or lower than what you're used to. But for us in Colorado Springs, this represents an $11,000 increase just from March of 21. So just in 30 short days, we saw $11,000 increase in our median sales price. Now, as far as what that looks like from April of 21 to April 20, that is a 20+% increase in median sales price just in 1 year. So what does that mean? How are you going to decipher that information, and how is that going to help you moving forward? Well, that's this month. And what we're going to do is we're going to pull the information from the last 12 months, and using that data, that accurate data, we're going to try to identify a trend. This way, it'll at least help us predict what the future can do. Again, people can decipher this any way that they want as far as the information. But from what I'm seeing, the trend here isn't hard to find. We're looking at a trend that's just ticking not straight up, but gradually rising. And now this is just over the last 12 months. And guys, this would include that every month that's represented here was a COVID month, was in COVID. So you can see the median sales price just consistently ticking up. So 5-year trend, what kind of anomalies or volatility are we seeing? I mean, again, this information is for you to decipher as well, but the information I'm looking at, I'm not seeing a lot of volatility. Now, again, we don't know the unknowns of the future, but just using the data of the past, I mean, this looks like we're just still climbing, and it doesn't look like we're tapering anytime soon. And guys, with the inventory issues that we have, I wouldn't think that we'd be tapering anytime soon. We just have more and more demand coming our way, and yet the supply and the inventory has always been an issue for us, and we'll start showing you here in a second. The inventory inventory issues, I should say, was just exacerbated this past year with COVID. So let's get into the listings and sold as far as the inventory. Last month in April, we had 949 homes that were listed and 1,169 of them that sold. Now, I know this looks inverted as if it was a typo, but this information is not a typo. This information is accurate. It actually comes from our MLS here. And how you can have those numbers like that is inverted like that is you can have homes that were sold that maybe were left over from the previous month's inventory. Now, that being unlikely, especially with March being the same way, more than likely what's happening here is going to be new builds. New builds, most of the production builders here in Colorado Springs, as far as production builds, they really don't even scratch the dirt until they have a contract on that. So there's no reason to list it. But yet when they do sell it, they do put it in the MLS, and now that shows as a sell. And so this is more than likely going to be one of the reasons why you're seeing this number inverted. So what does this look like as far as a trend? We talked about inventory issues are no stranger for us here in Colorado Springs. Well, you can see, even though we haven't been stranger to inventory, you can see that our inventory just steadily shrinking down. Again, now this is with COVID, because we have a lot of people that their companies will be relocating them. We have a strong military population here in Colorado Springs, pro-military, go. And a lot of those PCS orders were put on the back burner and held off through this whole COVID ordeal. So we had a lot of stuff that was different from us and that's represented in these last 12 months than previous years, in what would be considered normal, if you will. So the good news that I see here, though, if there is any, is going to be the fact that we are starting to tick up with the listings. To me, what that says is that now that things are starting to loosen up with the restrictions and close downs and lockdowns and all that other good stuff, that hopefully people are finding themselves a little bit more comfortable with selling their home and feeling comfortable with finding another home for themselves. So what does that look like as far as a 5-year trend? I mean, does that show anything different? And my God, look at this. This is insane. I mean, look at how we're totally inverted here. And again, we had this last month, and now this just represents the last 5 Aprils. But you can see each one of these months, those were actually sellers, seller market. But yet you're looking at this, broad, range, and I'm going to average these out and just ballpark them right here, spitballing here. But I mean, approximately 1,600 listings, for April. And approximately, 1,000 homes being sold, or 1,100 homes being sold in the month of April. for the past 5 years. But then you can see we're totally inverted, and look at the number of listings. I mean, we're shooting with just a little better than half, and we're still maintaining the number of homes sold. And yet our demand is higher right now than it has been in previous years too. So this is where you're seeing and this is the telltale for the inventory issue. Again, we're hoping with what we're seeing in the last 12 months and those trends just from the last 12 months being March and April starting to trend higher with listings, that we can get back to the 1,600 range, because that would certainly offer more opportunity for those that are relocating to the area or wanting to own here in Colorado Springs. All right, guys, so what does that mean? I think we've alluded to enough. I don't think I've busted a spoiler alert yet, but I feel like most everybody's going to know the answer to this. But let's get into the data. So month supply of inventory. So this is housing inventory. So the month supply of inventory, what we're looking for is anything less than 4 months of inventory is considered a seller's market. So again, anything less than 4 months supply of inventory. Well, now if you've already, looked at the numbers that I shared with you just a moment ago, you already know the answer to this. We have less than 1 month of inventory here. Again, the mark is 4 or less is a seller's market. We have just over 3 weeks of inventory here in Colorado Springs, or at least in April. We won't know May's numbers until next month, but just over 3 weeks. So what does that mean? Obviously, I've given you the answer, guys. It's a seller's market. I don't think anybody is oblivious to this, especially those that currently reside in this market or have been looking in this market for some time now. So guys, if you're a seller, there's still opportunity for you to maximize what you're walking away with, not only just in sales price and negotiating, but also in proper preparation of the home. We're seeing a lot of sellers that are leaving money on the table. As far as buyers, it's about structuring that offer and preparing yourself and getting as close to that perfect offer as you possibly can. And you're going to want to work with your agent on that, so that when you are, in a multiple offer situation, that you give your offer as much of an advantage as possible. So we'll have information on all this coming out. So be sure to subscribe and connect, and we can make sure you do get a hold of that information. If you have questions in the meantime, please don't hesitate in reaching out. We'll be here. Again, hey, give us a nod here and subscribe so we can make sure we get this information to you. Thanks, guys. Cheers.